The outpost floated in silence. It was old, rusted, built before the wars, before the treaties, before Earth had a name in the stars. Now, it was empty. The only human left was Connor Reyes, a former engineer, a former soldier, a man who had stopped believing in purpose. He wasn't supposed to still be here, but after the last supply ship vanished, he never got the order to leave, so he stayed, fixing machines that didn't matter, talking to walls that never answered. He thought he was alone until he heard it. A sound, a moan, soft, strange, not mechanical, not human either. Connor paused in the hallway. The sound came again, muffled, but real. He turned toward the vent system. The old shafts hadn't worked in years. He hadn't even checked them in months. No reason to. There wasn't supposed to be anything in there. But now, something was. He grabbed a flashlight. His boots echoed down the corridor as he followed the sound. He crouched near the maintenance panel and pulled it open. Dust filled the air. The metal smelled like rust and heat. The moan came against closer now. He climbed inside. It was tight, dark. The walls felt like they were closing in. He moved slowly, flashlight scanning the narrow path ahead, and then he saw it. A faint glow, blue, soft like moonlight, pulsing. In the dark, he crawled closer. That's when he found her, curled in the corner, hiding, shaking. A girl, but not like any human girl he had seen. Her skin shimmered like liquid metal. Her hair floated in slow motion, as if gravity didn't know what to do with it. Her body glowed from the inside, soft and pale. One of her arms was pressed tightly to her side. The other held something against her stomach. Her eyes were wide, bright silver, full of fear. She tried to back away, but she was stuck. She opened her mouth. Her voice was trembling. I sat on it. By accident, she whispered. I can't move. Connor stared at her, confused. You what? Her eyes watered. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. It latched on. I can't pull it out. Connor lowered his flashlight and looked at where she was sitting. A faint glow pulsed under her body. It looked like a round metal pod, half melted into the floor, and partly inside her. She winced, her body shuddering. It hurts. Connor reached for his scanner. He waved it near the glowing object. The scanner flickered, then beeped again, louder, faster. No, he muttered. He tapped the side of the scanner. The numbers weren't right. Energy levels were rising. Radiation was minimal, but the heat signature was growing fast. He looked back at her. That's not just some alien tech. It's active. She shook her head. I know. Connor leaned in closer. What is it? I don't know what you call it, she said. We called it a seed core. It was locked in a vault. I fell, and then I was just sitting on it. Now it's inside. Connor's mind raced. A seed core. He had heard of something like that during the war. Tech that was meant to grow weapons. From inside a living host. Illegal. Dangerous. Nearly unstoppable. And she was hosting it. It's not just stuck, he said slowly. It's bonding with you. She gasped, trying to shift. Her hands trembled. The glow beneath her pulsed again, this time brighter. The scanner beeped faster now. Connor stepped back. This thing, it's not just stuck. He looked her in the eyes. It's counting down. Connor's heart pounded. The scanner beeped faster with every second. The glow under Lyra's body pulsed stronger, now like a heartbeat, deep and angry. He crouched beside her, trying to stay calm. We need to move you. Now, he said. Lyra looked at him with wide, scared eyes. It won't let me. Connor hesitated. You said it's a seed core. What exactly does it do? She swallowed hard. It bonds with a host. It becomes part of your nervous system, your spine, your core. It was never meant for people. It was made for machines, or monsters. Connor's eyes narrowed. Why did you have it? I didn't, she whispered. I broke into the vault to hide. I didn't know what was inside. Connor glanced down at the pod embedded in her. It had sharp, silver tendrils, almost like roots, crawling gently over her skin. They pulsed with blue light, spreading. It was merging with her. He stood and took a breath. Okay, we can't stay in the vents. I'm taking you to the med bay. You'll touch me? She asked, surprised that Connor didn't answer. He just reached down and gently lifted her into his arms. Her body was too light for her size. She was warm, not hot like fire, but warm like sunlight through glass. Her skin shimmered against his suit. She trembled in his grip, but didn't fight him. As he crawled back through the shaft, she whispered, "Why are you helping me?" He paused for a second. "You're not the first person who's been stuck. Somewhere they didn't belong," he said quietly. The med bay was barely working. Most of the machines hadn't been used in years. But Connor managed to get the lights on, the scanner table working, and a neural screen booted. He laid Lyra down gently. She winced as the pod glowed under her again. "I'll try to get it deeper. Scan," he said. "Maybe I can isolate the tendrils." She nodded slowly. He ran the scanner across her back, neck, and chest. The display flickered. Then, strange alien symbols mixed with human code appeared. Connor frowned. "It's already mapped your nervous system." "I know," she said softly. "I can feel it." He glanced at her. "What do you mean?" Lyra closed her eyes. "It's in my mind. It's touching memories, feelings, everything." Connor stepped back. "That's not just a weapon. No," she said. "It's something else. I think it's learning." A long pause filled the room. Connor sat beside her, confused but trying to hide it. "You said you were hiding," he said. "From who?" Lyra opened her eyes and looked at the ceiling. "My people," she said. "They don't want peace. They don't want love. Only power. When I refused to become part of their army, they called me a defect." She took a breath. "So I ran. I thought I found an empty vault, but I was wrong." Connor watched her carefully. "What are you?" Lyra turned her head toward him. "I'm half worn," she said. "My father was energy. My mother was steel. They built me to be the future." Connor raised an eyebrow. "They built you?" "No," she smiled weakly. "They loved each other, and they gave me life. But that's why my people hated me. I was born from peace, not war." Connor looked down. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. He finally muttered, "That's not something to be ashamed of." Lyra blinked slowly. "You sound like my mother." He gave a small smile. "Smart woman." The scanner beeped again. The pod was getting warmer. Its signal had reached out. He checked the logs. It had pinged deep space. Connor's face went pale. "You didn't just activate it," he whispered. "You called someone." Lyra sat up slightly. "What?" Connor turned the display toward her. A pulse went out. High frequency. Directional. "Someone's coming." Lyra's body tensed. "They'll want the core?" she said. "And if they find me?" Connor stood up. "Then we make sure they don't." She stared at him. "You'll protect me?" He nodded. "Yeah, I will." She looked away. Her voice was soft. "No one's ever said that to me." Connor leaned closer. "Well, I just did." There was silence. Then, she reached out and touched his hand. Her fingers were cold at first, but then grew warm. A pulse moved between them, gentle, like light through water. Suddenly, images flashed in Connor's mind. A city made of crystal. A child floating in zero gravity. A woman with silver eyes, smiling in the dark. Lyra pulled her hand back, shocked. "I didn't mean to." Connor blinked. "What was that?" She looked at him nervously. "A memory link. It happens when I touch someone I trust." He stared at her. "You trust me?" "I do now," she said. He nodded slowly. Then his scanner beeped again. The pod glowed bright. Blue. Connor turned toward it. His breath caught in his throat. The countdown had started. A timer now flashed across the screen. 2 hours, 46 minutes. The timer on the screen blinked red. 2 hours, 46 minutes. Connor stared at it. His stomach tightened. He turned toward Lyra. We're running out of time. She looked pale now. Her glow had faded to a soft flicker. The pod beneath her skin pulsed, with a deeper hue, like storm clouds before lightning. Her voice trembled. I feel it, inside me, digging deeper. Every time I move, it goes further. Connor stood up. He paced across the small med bay, running a hand through his messy hair. He hated this. No instruction manual, no protocol, no team to back him up. Just one girl, one impossible device, and a countdown to something he didn't even fully understand. He stopped suddenly and turned to her. I'm going to try something, he said. Lyra blinked slowly. What? I used to be a field medic, he explained, before I was reassigned to engineering. I've seen parasites before. Maybe not like this, but close. If I can get to the tendrils without damaging your core, you could cut it out, she whispered. He nodded once. She hesitated, then gave a slow, quiet answer. Do it. Connor grabbed a portable surgical kit from the wall. Most of the tools were outdated, but one thing still worked. The micro-laser scalpel. He calibrated it, adjusting for alien skin density, which the scanner had mapped earlier. Lyra lay back on the medical table, eyes closed. Her hands trembled as she rested them on her chest. He noticed. You don't have to do this if you're not ready. She opened her eyes. I am ready. He moved closer, gently brushing her long hair away from her back. Her body shimmered under the light. Where the pod had connected, the skin was slightly raised, like it was swelling around a wound that had never healed. He took a slow breath, then made the first cut. Her body twitched, but she didn't cry out. Instead, she whispered, I'm okay. The microscalpel sliced cleanly, parting the skin without blood. Her body wasn't like a human's. There was no muscle, no fat, just layers of glowing tissue, softly humming, alive in a way he had never seen before. He reached the first tendril. It was thin, silver, and pulsating. It looked like a root, wrapping gently around her nerves. He hesitated. Then he activated the neutralizer and touched the base of the tendril. There was a flash of light. Lyra gasped. Connor's screen blinked. The tendril shriveled instantly. One. Down. He looked up. That wasn't too bad, right? She gave a weak smile. I've felt worse. He chuckled once. Tough girl. She looked at him. Her voice was soft. I had to be. No one ever came to rescue me before. Connor paused. Something about the way she said it, like she had always been alone, cut deeper than anything else in the room. You're not alone now, he said. She closed her eyes. For a few seconds, there was only silence. Connor continued. The procedure. Each tendril he found was deeper, more connected. Some wrapped around her spine. Others pulsed in time with her breath. He worked carefully, removing 3 more. But then, the screen flashed red. Warning, core stability dropping. No, he muttered. Lyra opened her eyes. What happened? Connor stared at the screen. The pod. It's reacting. It knows what I'm doing. She winced. It's trying to protect itself, of course it is, he said. It thinks you're its host. You're part of it now. She looked terrified. Then, you won't be able to finish. Connor looked into her eyes. I didn't say that. He leaned in and touched her shoulder. We just have to go deeper. But I need you to trust me. I do, she said. I already do. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the tension vanished. There was something else now, a connection, not just of fear or survival, but something gentler, something rare. He saw it in the way she looked at him, and she saw it too. Then her body convulsed. She cried out, gripping the edges of the table. Connor moved quickly. What is it? Her voice cracked. It's sending something into my mind. She closed her eyes tight. Tears rolled down her cheeks. It's trying to erase me. Connor grabbed her hand. Lyra, stay with me. Focus on my voice. She shook, shivering. I don't want to disappear. You won't, he said firmly. Not while I'm here. Then he did something reckless. He leaned in and pressed his forehead against hers. Her skin sparked at the contact. Soft blue light flowed between them. A memory link triggered again. This time, he saw everything. Her childhood, her people, her escape, the cold vault, the terror when she first felt the pod latch onto her. He felt it all, and she felt him, his pain, his regret, the war he walked away from, the friends he lost, the guilt that followed him through every day since. Then she whispered, "That's why you stayed here." He pulled back, breathless. She opened her eyes. "You blame yourself," she said, "for surviving." He didn't speak. Instead, he turned back to the screen. One last tendril, the deepest one, wrapped around her spinal root. It was glowing brighter than the others. "I can end this," he said, "but it's going to hurt." She gave a weak smile. "I trust you." Connor activated the scalpel. The room filled with light. Lyra screamed. The pod pulsed violently. The station shook, and then silence. Connor opened his eyes. Smoke filled the med-bay. Lyra was still. Her body wasn't glowing anymore. He touched her cheek, got cold. "No, no, no," he whispered. "Stay with me." He checked the scanner. Vitals, unstable, but still there. She was alive. Barely. He collapsed beside her. His hand found hers. "You're not going anywhere," he said quietly. "I'm not losing anyone else." Then, the outpost alarm sounded. The AI voice crackled. "Foreign ship detected. Docking in 20 minutes. Connor looked up. "They're here," he whispered. The red lights in the hallway pulsed like a slow heartbeat. The station's AI repeated itself in a calm, robotic voice. "Foreign ship detected. Docking in 18 minutes. Connor stared at the blinking terminal. His jaw tightened. He turned back to Ward. Lyra still lying on the med table. Her body was still glowing faintly, but her skin had grown pale. The tendrils were gone, but the damage wasn't. She was alive, but barely holding on. He touched her hand. "Lyra, wake up. We've got trouble." Her eyes opened slowly. They flickered like dying stars. She winced as she tried to move. "It's coming, isn't it?" she asked weakly. Connor nodded. Something answered the signal the pod sent out. Lyra turned her face away. "They'll take me, use me, or kill me. Not if I stop them," he said. She looked at him, surprised. "You'd fight for me?" He paused, then said quietly, "I've fought for less." Connor moved through the hallway with purpose now. His steps were heavier, his shoulders squared. He stopped by his sealed weapons locker near the cargo hold. He typed in a long, old passcode. Click. The door opened. Inside were weapons from a past he had tried to forget. He pulled out a tactical armor vest, still covered in dust, then a pulse rifle, a shock blade, a few grenades. He checked the charge levels, all still working. Good enough for one more fight. He looked at himself in the reflection of the locker door. Not the same man anymore. Older, tired, but still a soldier, still human. Flashback A. War zone on the planet Del Ross. Explosions in the distance. Soldiers screaming. Buildings crumbling. Connor had dragged a wounded teammate through fire. She had begged him to leave her behind. He didn't. But when the evac arrived, only one of them made it out. Him. He never forgave himself. Back on the station now, Connor closed the locker. The memories faded, but the guilt didn't. Lyra needed him now, and he would not walk away. Back in the med bay, Lyra was sitting up slowly. She had pulled a blanket over her shoulders, but her body still trembled. "You're not ready to move," Connor said. "I don't want to be helpless." she replied. He crouched beside her. You're not helpless. You've survived more than anyone I know. She looked at him, her silver eyes shimmering. I feel broken. He gave a small smile. So am I. She stared at him for a long moment, then said softly, maybe we fix each other. The station shook suddenly. Connor grabbed the table to steady himself. The alarms flared again. Unauthorized. Docking hull breach in Hangar Bay 3. He grabbed his rifle, then turned to her. I'm going down there. Her eyes widened. No, you can't fight them alone. I have to. What if you don't come back? He didn't answer, so she reached for his hand and said, then take something with you. She touched her fingertips to his forehead. A brief light passed between them. What was that? He asked. A memory, she said softly, of what it felt like when you held me. Don't forget it. He looked at her, heart heavy. I won't. Then he left. The hangar bay was quiet, too quiet. The air smelled of oil and ozone. Connor moved. Slowly, gun raised. A small ship had docked, pitch black and shaped like a dagger. No markings, no signal codes. He took cover behind a container as the hatch opened. Two figures stepped out, tall, armored, glowing blue visors. LRE. Soldiers. Connor had seen their kind before. Cold, efficient, ruthless. One scanned the area. The signal came from here, it said in a sharp, inhuman voice. The other nodded. The host is near. The seed core is active. Connor gritted his teeth so they weren't here for a fight. They were here for her. He watched as the soldiers split up. He needed to draw them away from the med-bay. He picked up a wrench nearby and threw it down the far corridor. It clanged loudly. Both soldiers turned toward the noise. That's when Connor moved quick, silent, precise. He stabbed the first soldier in the back with the shock blade. The armor sparked. The body dropped. The second turned and fired. Connor rolled behind cover, then returned fire. A blast hit the soldier's helmet, cracking the visor. The Zelari stumbled, but didn't fall. Connor moved closer and tackled it in two. The wall. They struggled, weapons clashing. Then a final shot. A final scream. Silence. Both soldiers down. Connor stood there, breathing hard, but something was wrong. The ship behind them began to glow. Another signal, another countdown. He checked the console on the side of the ship. Auto-deploy sequence. 9 minutes. They hadn't come alone. This was just the first wave. He rushed back to the med-bay. Lyra was standing now, barely. When she saw him, she sighed in relief. You made it. For now, he said. But that wasn't all of them. That ship was just a scout. More are coming. She nodded. Then we have to finish this. Connor frowned. What do you mean? She stepped forward. I can feel the pod again. It's still inside me. Dormant now, but not gone. If they come and it activates again. Connor shook his head. I won't let that happen. Lyra placed a hand on his chest. Her touch was warm. Then we make a choice, she said. We destroy the pod, or we leave this place behind, forever. He looked at her. I'd go anywhere. With you. Her voice cracked. Even if I'm not human. He leaned closer. You're more human than most people I've met. They held each other for a moment. Just one quiet breath. One heartbeat. Then the station shook again. Connor grabbed her hand. Time to finish this. The station groaned. Another tremor passed through the floor. Pipes hissed. Lights flickered. Connor kept his grip on Lyra's hand as they moved through the narrow hallway. Her body was weak, but she walked beside him without asking to stop. She didn't want to be carried this time. He glanced sideways. Her skin was dimmer than before. The glow inside her was fading, like a candle running low on air. You're pushing yourself too hard, he said. I'm not letting you fight this alone, she whispered. He didn't argue. They reached the engine core. The heat was strong. even with the cooling system still running. The reactor chamber pulsed with red light. The walls were coated in dust and heat marks from old fire damage. This was the oldest part of the station, unused, forgotten, exactly what they needed. Connor pointed at the fusion port. That chamber runs a high-frequency energy cycle. We use it for breaking down unstable materials. If we can sync the core's pulse to the pod's frequency, it might separate it from you. Lyra looked at him. Might. He gave a quiet breath. It's a guess, a risky one. She stepped toward the control console. Then we make it count. While Connor prepared the system, Lyra rested against the wall, her head tilted back, her eyes half closed. She didn't cry, but she looked tired. Tired of running, tired of hurting, he noticed, and paused. He turned to her. You said you feel the pod still inside? Does it speak to you? She nodded slowly. Not in words, in feelings, hunger, purpose, obedience. She looked at him. It wants to turn me into something I'm not. He clenched his fists. Then we rip it out. All of it. She looked away. What if there's nothing left of me when it's gone? He walked over and stood in front of her. You'll still be Lyra. She didn't answer, so he gently cupped her face. I don't care what parts of you are alien, or made of light, or born from war. You're the first person who's made me feel human again. Her voice cracked. You don't even know me? I know enough, he said. I know how you look at me when you think I'm not watching. I know how you hide your pain behind jokes. I know you'd rather die than be a weapon. He leaned closer. I know I'd rather die with you than live without you. Tears slipped down her cheeks. She whispered, You feel it too. I've felt it since I carried you out of that vent. Their foreheads touched again, and for a brief second, nothing else existed, just them, stuck together not by the pod, but by choice. The fusion core powered up Connor, set the chamber to sync with the pod's neural field. Lyra stood in the middle of the circle, a glowing ring now forming around her feet. The control panel beeped. A warning appeared. Fusion sequence may cause extreme neural feedback. She looked at him. I'm ready. He hesitated. If this goes wrong, then I want you to be the last thing I see. He swallowed, then activated the cycle. The room filled with vibrating sound. Lyra's body lit up instantly, brighter than ever before. Her back arched. Her eyes rolled back. The pod inside her reacted violently. A blue web of light spread from her spine outward. Her skin cracked with lines of light. She screamed. Connor ran to the console, trying to stabilize the output. Her body hovered now, just a few inches off the floor. The energy surrounded her completely. He watched helplessly. Come on, hold on. Lyra's voice echoed through the chamber. Her thoughts flowed directly into his mind. Connor, it hurts. He answered silently. Stay with me. Just a little longer. The fusion pulse surged. A piece of metal part of the seed core was forced out of her body. It clattered to the floor, glowing red hot. She screamed again. Another pulse. Then another piece fell. Her glow began to dim. Connor's fingers flew across the controls. Almost there. Just a few more. Then one final surge. Lyra's body dropped to the floor. Limp Connor rushed to her. He dropped to his knees and pulled her into his arms. Lyra. She didn't move. He touched her face. Cold. No, 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 no. He placed 2 fingers to her neck. Faint. A heartbeat. She was alive. He let out a breath. He didn't realize he was holding. She opened her eyes slowly. You still here? She whispered. He smiled, his voice breaking. Always. But the moment didn't last. The station shook again. Harder this time. Then a loud voice came over the PA. Intrusion alert. Hangar breach. Hostiles inbound. Connor stood, rage rising in his chest. They're here. Lyra tried to sit up. How many? Connor checked the screen. Too many. He turned to her. Can you move? She nodded, slowly but surely. I'm stronger now. It's gone. I feel. ... clearer. Then we run, he said. No, she replied. We fight. He raised an eyebrow. You sure? She stepped toward him, her glow returning, her voice calm. I'm not scared anymore. Not with you. He nodded. He handed her the shock blade. She took it without hesitation. Together, they stood at the center of the reactor room, side by side, waiting for the enemy. The lights turned red. The emergency sirens howled through the station. Steel doors hissed as the automatic defense grid tried to slow the incoming attack. But it wasn't enough. Connor stood with his rifle ready. Lyra stood beside him, her body pulsing with a new kind of energy. Her silver eyes didn't show fear anymore. They glowed with quiet fire. A voice crackled through the intercom, cold and robotic. Target located. Prepare for extraction. Lyra clenched the shock blade tighter. They still think they own me. Connor didn't take his eyes off the hallway ahead. Then let's show them you're not theirs. Heavy footsteps echoed closer. 3 armored Zelari units stepped into view. They were taller than humans, with black exosuits and glowing weapons. Their helmets had no face, just a single blue light where eyes should be. The lead soldier raised a hand. Stand down. The host must be retrieved intact. Human, you are not necessary. Connor raised his weapon. I was never interested in being necessary. Before the soldier could finish raising its gun, Lyra moved fast. She was a blur of light and motion. Her blade sliced across the enemy's chest, sparks flying. One soldier dropped before it even knew it had been hit. Connor fired at the second, his shots striking center mass. The armor cracked. The Zelari fell with a sharp thud. The third charged forward. Lyra and Connor moved together. He ducked while she leaped, driving the blade deep into the back of the creature's neck. It twitched, then fell. Silenced. Connor looked at her. We make a good team. She gave him a small smile. Told you I was stronger now. He nodded. We're not out of this yet. They moved toward the command center, where the station's main reactor and escape pods were housed. But the halls were no longer quiet. Explosions shook the structure. Enemy ships had started to land. The station was collapsing, piece by piece. Connor slammed the door shut behind them as they reached the final room. Lyra looked around. Where are the pods? Connor walked to the control panel. The screen flickered, then showed a warning. Escape pods offline. Launch systems damaged. He hit the console hard. They disabled our exit. Lyra stepped beside him. Then we make a new one. She pointed at the reactor. This station has a fusion core. If we redirect its energy, we can power the cargo launch bay. It's not meant for living transport, ... bay, but it could carry us far enough. Connor hesitated. That's a huge risk. She placed a hand on his chest. So is staying here. While he reprogrammed the reactor's flow, Lyra took a moment to breathe. Her thoughts were no longer cloudy. The pod was gone. The connection severed. She didn't hear its voice anymore. But she heard something else now, her own. She looked at Connor, focused, determined, kind, and hers. A quiet thought whispered inside her. He's worth staying for. The system came online. Connor turned to her. We've got 10 minutes before overload. She nodded. That's enough. But then a deep sound echoed from the corridor outside. A heavier step. Slower, measured. Connor turned toward the sealed door. That's not a foot soldier. The metal door dented inward, once, twice, then exploded open. A massive figure stepped through. Zelari commander. 7 feet tall, covered in reinforced armor. It carried a plasma staff, glowing red hot. Its voice was deep and smooth. You removed the core. Impressive, but your body remains valuable. Connor stepped forward. She's not your property. The commander ignored him. You are broken, it said to Lyra. Your power is wasted on emotion. She narrowed her eyes. You don't understand what power is. She stepped forward, unafraid. The commander raised the staff. Then let me remind you. It struck first. Lyra blocked it with her blade, but the force sent her flying into a wall. Sparks flew from her body. Connor fired at the commander, but the rounds bounced off its armor. The commander turned toward him. You care for her. That is your weakness. Connor didn't flinch. No, that's my reason. He charged forward, blade in one hand, pistol in the other. The commander swung. Connor ducked, sliced across the leg joint. The armor cracked. Lyra rose, her eyes blazing now. Her body glowed with soft, golden-white energy. She moved faster than she ever had. Her blade pierced the side of the commander's helmet. It roared and grabbed her throat. Connor stabbed its exposed side. It dropped her. She fell. Coughing but alive, the commander swung again. Connor blocked with his arm. His armor shattered. He cried out, fell to his knees. The commander loomed over him, ready to strike the final blow. But Lyra was already moving. She launched forward and drove the blade deep into the back of its head. This time, through the central core. The commander froze, then collapsed. Gone. The room was silent again, except for the hum of the overloading reactor. Connor was still on his knees, breathing hard. Lyra ran to him, dropped beside him. You're hurt. He nodded slowly, but alive. She touched his face. You saved me. He looked at her. No, we saved each other. She leaned in, resting her forehead against his. Their eyes closed. One breath, one pause in the middle of chaos. Then the system beeped. Warning, core detonation. Imminent. Connor stood. We need to go. Now. They ran to the cargo bay and climbed into the launch pad, a tiny metal crate meant for equipment, not people. He strapped her in. She grabbed his hand. I'm scared. He gave a soft smile. Me too. He pressed the launch. The cargo pod shot into the stars, just as the station behind them exploded in a ball of blue fire. Inside the pod, silence returned. Only the stars surrounded them now. No alarms, no war, just two souls, stuck together, alive and free. The stars stretched endlessly outside the pod window. Connor sat with his back against the cold wall, one arm around Lyra, holding her close. They had escaped, but barely. The cargo pod wasn't meant for long travel. There was no proper food, no air. System strong enough to last more than a few hours. No navigation, just silence and time. Lyra's head rested against Connor's chest. Her skin still glowed faintly, but her body was weak. He brushed her hair back gently. We're not safe yet. She nodded. But we're alive. A long pause passed between them. Connor stared at the stars. I never thought I'd see them like this again. After everything I lost. After everything I became. Lyra looked up at him. You became the man who saved me. He smiled softly. I'm just a broken soldier. She touched his face. No. You're the one who chose love over fear. You didn't run. You stayed. Her words hit deeper than he expected, for the first time in years. Connor didn't feel hollow. The pod's warning lights blinked. The oxygen level dropped to 30%. They had maybe an hour left. Lyra noticed the screen. We won't make it much longer. Connor nodded. There's no distress beacon. No long-range comms. He looked at her, then down at his wrist where the seed core fragment had burned through his suit. There was still a small piece inside him. He had felt it ever since the reactor. Just a flicker. But real. She noticed you kept part of it. He gave a slow breath. It bonded with me. Just a fragment. Enough to sense power. Maybe even send one last signal. She sat up a little. You could use it. Maybe, he said. If I let it draw energy from me, it might reach a patrol ship, or anyone listening. She frowned. That could kill you. He looked into her eyes. And if I don't, we both die. He sat against the panel and closed his eyes. The glow spread from his wrist slowly. Pain surged through his body like a wire heating up inside his veins. But he didn't stop. Lyra moved beside him. She held his face between her hands. "You're not doing this alone." She placed her forehead against his. Her own glow brightened. She shared her energy, her warmth. Their bodies lit the inside of the pod. Flickers of memories, hers and his, flashed between them. Moments of laughter, pain, war, kindness, and then peace. Just quiet peace. A light on the console blinked. "Incoming signal." Connor gasped. Lyra smiled. "You did it?" His voice was weak. "No, we did." A voice came through the speakers. "This is patrol vessel, Arclight. We received your distress pulse. Life signs detected. Hang on, we're bringing you in." Connor collapsed back, breathing heavily. Lyra laid her head on his chest again. "I want to go with you," she whispered. He closed his eyes. "I don't want to go anywhere without you." Hours later, Connor woke in a clean, warm bed, soft lights above, a gentle hum of machinery. He blinked slowly. A medical bay, the real kind, not the broken one on the old station. Then a voice. "You're awake." He turned. Lyra stood at the door, wrapped in a medical robe, her silver hair loose around her shoulders, her eyes brighter than ever. He tried to sit up. She rushed to his side. "Careful." He chuckled weakly. "You look better." "So do you," she said softly. They sat in silence for a moment. Then she said, "They examined me, said I'm clean. The pod's fully gone. The energy, the tendrils, all gone." He nodded. "And me?" "You're stable." She smiled. "And still annoying." He laughed once. "Sounds about right." She hesitated, then added, "They asked me where I wanted to go. What planet, what station, where I belong." He looked at her carefully. "And what did you say?" "I said I belong wherever he is." Connor blinked. She moved closer. "That's you, by the way." He smiled, a little overwhelmed. "I was hoping you'd say that." They leaned forward, foreheads touched, eyes closed, a breath shared, then a kiss, soft, real, honest, a kiss between two people who should have never met, but did, and saved each other. Weeks later, Earth's sky was a pale blue. The wind smelled like sea salt and pine trees. Connor stood on a grassy hill, watching the sun rise. His old jacket fluttered behind him. Lyra stood beside him, wearing earth clothes now, a long sweater, boots, hair tied loosely. She reached for his hand. He took it without a word. "What now?" she asked. He looked toward the horizon. "We build something." She smiled. "Together." He turned to her. "Always." And so, in the vast silence of space, two broken souls found each other. He, a man who ran from the war. She, a girl born from light and fear. Together, they stopped a weapon, survived the impossible, and chose something stronger than fate. They chose love. They chose humanity. They chose each other. And that is the greatest victory of all.